Hi and welcome back. In today's video, I want to share with you how I have simplified my weekly cosmetic needling sessions. If you have been here for a little while, you know that I'm a big fan of microneedling. I have medical microneedled for about 15 years now, and it has done wonders for my skin. If you're curious about medical microneedling and how I personally do it, I have made quite a few videos on it. I will link all of those down below. Now, medical microneedling is also known as collagen induction therapy because it does just that. It helps our body or our skin to produce more collagen, and it does so as a reaction to a controlled injury. So in medical microneedling, we use a needle length of 0.5 millimeters or longer. At 0.5 millimeters or longer, we pierce the stratum corneum, the outer layer of our skin. We enter through the epidermis into the dermis. In the dermis is where collagen and elastin fibers live. So by entering into the dermis, we create a controlled injury. The body responds to this controlled injury with a cascade of reactions, which eventually lead to more collagen and elastin production. However, this cascade of reactions and to produce collagen takes time. So medical microneedling should not be done more frequently than every 4 to 6 weeks. However, there's also cosmetic needling. In or for cosmetic needling, we use a needle length of 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters. At 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters, we again pierce the stratum corneum, the outer layer of our skin, which is also the outermost layer of the epidermis. And we enter just a bit deeper into the epidermis. So in cosmetic needling, we do not enter into the dermis, where again collagen and elastin fibers live. So therefore, cosmetic needling is not really for collagen and elastin production. What it is for product penetration. Because we don't go so deep and we don't create a controlled injury, we can cosmetic needle much more frequently than medical microneedle. In fact, cosmetic needling can be done once a week or even more frequently if your skin can handle it. Personally, I had the best intentions to cosmetic needle once a week. As I mentioned, I have been medical microneedling for about 15 years. But about a year ago, I decided I wanted to add cosmetic needling to my routine because I do think, while again, it doesn't really help much with collagen and elastin production, I do think having product penetrate a bit deeper once a week or so can be quite beneficial. However, while I had the best intentions of again cosmetic needling about once a week, I really slacked off on it. And one of the reasons was that I use a doctor pen to do my microneedling. And while I love my doctor pen, and I still use this every 4 to 6 weeks, for my medical microneedling, I found myself not wanting to pull this out on a weekly basis for several reasons. First of all, every week I had to remember to charge my batteries. Of course, if they are not charged, I can just plug this in, but then I have to stand right next to my outlet for quite a while because about a year ago, I started using a stamping technique for both medical as well as cosmetic needling. And while I don't mind at all every 4 to 6 weeks to take the time to make sure that this tiny little surface, I don't have a cartridge in here right now, but the cartridge is about the size of this surface right here, to make sure that this tiny little surface covers every millimeter of my skin, while I don't mind doing that every 4 to 6 weeks, I really found it way too cumbersome to do so once a week. It was just too time consuming. So I found myself cosmetic needling less and less. So what I ended up doing is I purchased a Dr. Pen stamp. Now, originally I purchased this to take on vacation with me because we went on a 3-week vacation to Sweden, which was beautiful, and I wanted to be able to cosmetic needle while on vacation. So I brought this rather than bringing this and a charger. And I did use this once a week on vacation, and we have been back now for about 3 months. I have also been using this once a week at home for my cosmetic needling sessions. And using this for cosmetic needling rather than my doctor pen, again, I still use this for medical microneedling, and I will tell you why in a second. But using this for cosmetic needling rather than my doctor pen has really simplified my routine and has saved me a bunch of time. So I'm going to do my weekly cosmetic needling session right now with you, and I'll show you how easy this is to use. So first of all, just like on a doctor pen, you can dial in the depth on this stamp. And I'm not quite sure if my camera will focus, but there is a dial right here on the top, and this can be dialed in anywhere between 0 and 3 millimeters. So I'm going to dial it in at 0.25. So right between the 0 and the 0.5. So my stamp is dialed in, again at 0.25 millimeters. I put my hair back just so it doesn't get in the way when I needle my neck and my chest. And the skin on my face, neck and chest is clean. I double cleansed my face, neck and chest before this video, and I have nothing on my skin. And that's important even though I'm just cosmetic needling, because I don't want to needle sunscreen, sweat, dirt or grime into my skin. Now, while with medical microneedling, we have to be quite careful about what we use before, during and after. With cosmetic needling, we could use just about anything. We would like to penetrate a bit deeper. So I could use some copper peptides. I could use some growth factors. I could even use some vitamin C, which is something we want to avoid when medical microneedling. But again, for cosmetic needling, I could use some vitamin C. Now, today I would like to use this serum right here called Plated. I was influenced by whom I can't remember now to buy this crazy expensive serum. This again is called Plated, and it is supposed to be platelet-derived exosomes. I'm actually a bit mad at myself for purchasing this because this tiny bottle was over $200. But c'est la vie, I have it now, and I figured I might as well get the most of it and have it penetrate a bit deeper. So this is what I'm going to use today for my session. Now, I could either start stamping on clean skin, or what I like to do is I like to apply my serum first, then stamp, and then apply a bit more. Or I could also apply a different serum then afterwards. So I'm going to use a pump of this liquid gold. I haven't used this long enough to tell you if it is worth the money. I'm assuming not, but like I said, I have it now, and I think I'm just going to use it for cosmetic needling, or maybe after medical microneedling, a couple days after, to help with the healing. So I'm spreading this one pump all over my face, neck and chest. And then this is where I have to give you my little disclaimer. If you're interested in microneedling, whether it is cosmetic or medical microneedling, please do your own research. I'm just sharing with you what works for me. So when using the stamp, first of all, I want to make sure that it is still dialed in at 0.25. The one thing I don't like about this stamp is that the dial is quite loose. And sometimes when I've used it, holding it like this, I have actually changed the depth, which of course is not good. So I want to make sure that I haven't messed around with it. And then I have learned to hold it right here so that doesn't happen. I'm going to take the bottom off, and I use the stamp just like I use my doctor pen. So I do the same pattern. I like to go horizontally and then vertically. Some people like to go diagonally, circles, little squares, whatever. Going horizontally and then vertically works well for me. But like I said, please do your own research and don't just follow what I do. So I'm going to start, and I always like to start at my chin. And I'm not applying a bunch of pressure. So I'm just taking the stamp, placing it, and giving it just a tiny little push. Sort of like putting a pencil to paper. Really not much more pressure than that. And then I go horizontally all the way to my ear. I create one line, and then I set my stamp just above that and go back. And there is zero pain, zero discomfort with this. So I'm just going back and forth, again using just the slightest amount of pressure. And then once I get to the bone right here, to the orbital bone, I don't want to go any further. I will treat under my eyes, but I'll do that once I'm done with this cheek. So you can see I've already covered this whole area horizontally. Having such a big surface is definitely nice, and it is a lot quicker. So now I'm going to go vertically. I have gotten in the habit to turn my stamp around to go vertically. It really doesn't matter. You can go this way, it doesn't matter. So again, I start at my temples here, or not again, earlier I started at my chin, and I go all the way down. I'm gonna just go right here by my ear where we get these tiny little wrinkles as we age. And then I'm going all the way back up. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Up and down, setting my stamp. So not overlapping too much, maybe just slightly setting the stamp next to where I just treated. And the nice thing is, whether cosmetic needling or medical microneedling, we create some erythema, some redness, which allows us to see where we have been. So I actually have a mirror right here. I'm just gonna check real quick. And I can see I have some nice even erythema. So I've already covered this whole cheek, which was quite fast. Now I'm going to take, very carefully, 2 fingers, and I'm placing them on each corner of my eye, pulling down very gently. And this is where I'm not too crazy about the stamp, because while I like the extra surface, getting into tiny spaces is definitely a bit harder. So I'm just very careful here. Just doing a couple of passes under the eye. And that's it. I think I covered that well. So I mentioned earlier that I still use my Dr. pen for medical microneedling. And that is one of the reasons. While I love having this big surface, it's fast, it's easy. For medical microneedling, when I go deeper, I want it to be more precise. I don't want to use a big surface like this going deeper. I want something with a smaller surface so I can get into all the nooks and crannies and be more precise. Another reason is that while of course I sanitize this after every use, so I either use alcohol to sanitize this, or sometimes if I don't have alcohol, I use these little, what are they called, what you use to clean your dentures. So after every use, I sanitize this, and that's quite important. And then of course this also has to be replaced quite frequently. I figure I don't want to use this more than 10, 15 times max. So if I use this weekly, 3 times a week, because the 4th week I medical microneedle with my pen, then one of these lasts me about 3 months. So after 3 months, I definitely want to replace this. Whether I sanitize it or not, that's a given. But the needles will get less sharp. So for medical microneedling, I do like, again, using my pen because it is more precise, but also because I don't have to worry about sanitation. I just use a fresh cartridge every single time. That way I'm not just assuring that my needles are nice and sharp and they can penetrate nicely, but also that they are sanitary. when I medical microneedle, there might be some pinpoint bleeding. Versus with this, I don't go very deep. Regardless, I still sanitize this, as I mentioned, after every single use. So let's do the same thing on the other side. So again, I like to start on my chin, work my way all the way back to my ear. And I want to double check actually that I didn't change the dial. I didn't. That's really the one thing I don't like about this stamp, is that the dial moves so easily. So I really have to double check sometimes. Now, if you want to cosmetic and medical microneedle, but you only want to invest in one device, then I would say still get a doctor pen. Because like I said, I don't like to use this for medical microneedling for the reasons I just mentioned. So I'm already done horizontally. Now I'm going back down vertically. Again, going onto these little lines right here by the ear. However, if you don't mind buying 2 devices and you just want to simplify your cosmetic needling routine, then I definitely think this is worthwhile. I think I paid $20 for this. Again, it's going to last me 3 months. So this is my second one. I've already replaced it once. I do believe that Dr. Pen did give me a discount code. If I have a discount code for this, I do have one for the Dr. Pen, but if I have one for this, I will definitely link it down below. I actually bought mine on Amazon. So now I'm going under my eye again very carefully. I am pulling this down to get just a bit closer to the lash line without going past the orbital bone. Again, with this big surface, that is a bit more challenging, but I am not going very deep, so I don't have to worry too much. So now I'm going to do my mouth, or around my mouth, and my chin. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start where I left off earlier, and I'm going to make some faces here to really get in. And again, this is not painful at all. It's not even uncomfortable. Now, some of you ask me, can you microneedle your lips? I would say at this depth, definitely. I wouldn't go, personally, I wouldn't go deeper than that. But I did just go on my lips, partially because it is challenging not to with this big surface. But I do think at this depth, at 0.25, it's definitely okay to do the lips. And now I'm going vertically again. I also like using this stamp. In fact, I have 2 of these. So one of these I use for my face, and then I purchased another one. I'm gonna make a face real fast. Again, I'm getting a bit on my lip, which is totally fine. And usually this area right here above the lip is so uncomfortable when medical microneedling, but at this depth, it is not at all. Here we go. So I purchased another one of these, and I use it on my scalp because I use the Calecim Advanced Haircare System, which actually comes with a stamp. But the stamp, the needles on that stamp are quite short, and of course our scalp is quite thick. So I wanted the serum, the Calecim serum, to penetrate a bit deeper. So I got another one of these, and I actually dial it in anywhere between 1 and 1.5 millimeters. And I use that once a week with the Calecim Advanced Haircare System. So this is great for the scalp. It's also great, of course, for the body because it is a bigger surface, or if you have a scar somewhere. So it is quite versatile. Now, if you just wanted to cosmetic needle, I definitely think while you might not get as much collagen production as you would be getting from medical microneedling, I definitely think it is worthwhile. Some actually say that with continued or regular cosmetic needling that you do get some collagen and elastin production. That might just be, I'm not quite sure. Like I said, collagen fibers do live a bit deeper in the dermis, but that might just be that with continued use, you do actually also stimulate some collagen and elastin. But even if not, I still think it's worthwhile to cosmetic needle. I'm just going to go over my eyebrows a couple more times. They are actually growing back nicely. I have been using the Revive lash and brow serum on them for about maybe 3 months now, and I'm getting a whole new row of hairs right here, which is lovely. So that's it for my face. Now I'm going to do the same thing on my neck and chest. Now you can see how fast this is, and if I wasn't talking to you, this would take me a couple of minutes. Doing the same thing horizontally, vertically. Now I like to section my neck into 3 sections. You don't have to do that. You could go all the way around. This is just what I'm used to doing. Now some people say to avoid the thyroid when microneedling. At 0.25 millimeters, I'm not worried about it. I am not going very deep at all. And I do have a scar right here, right on my thyroid, from my neck surgery when I broke my neck about, I think it's been 13 years ago already. And I do want, even though again I'm not really creating that much collagen right now, I do want this liquid gold right here to penetrate a bit deeper, hoping that it will help smooth out that scar a bit. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have medical microneedled for almost 15 years now. Unfortunately, for the first probably 13 years, I only did my face. I don't know why. I just always neglected my neck. I never used to apply sunscreen. I finally started in my 40s because I had very bad rosacea. And that forced me to use sunscreen finally on my face. But I only did it on my face. I didn't apply it on my neck and my chest. So there is a definite difference, I feel, in the quality of my skin between my neck and my face and my chest. So now I'm really trying to also, not just cosmetic needle, but also medical microneedle my neck and my chest. Neck is done. Now we're going to do the chest. And you can see my neck and chest, even though I haven't needled yet, my chest is already red. That's just sun damage. I did have, and I made a video on it, a V-beam laser to treat that. And my provider said I really needed 4 or 5. I had a second appointment that I have rescheduled now, I don't know how many times, because life just gets in the way. So far I have only had 1 of the V-beam lasers. And my second one is now not until next month. So I'm not getting them in as quickly as I wanted to, but I figured I've had this sun damage for decades, what's a little longer. But hopefully eventually the V-beam laser will help make the skin on my neck and chest just a bit healthier. So that's it. That was my face, neck and chest. Very easy, very quick. And I hope you found this helpful. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below. You know, always love to hear from you. As far as what to apply after now, I was going to apply more of this, but because this is so expensive, I want to save it. I'm actually just going to continue with my regular skincare routine now. So I'm going to apply this right now. This is something I'm trying out. I have used this for maybe a month now. The brand is Young Goose, and they are similar to OneSkin. So they have some products that focus on getting rid of senescent cells. They also have some products containing NAD precursors. It's quite interesting. I will talk more about the brand in a different video. But this is their antioxidant serum, and it contains tetrahexyldecyl ascorbate, which is a vitamin C derivative. And then it also contains a compound that is supposed to help diminish senescent cells. And I can't think of the name of the compound right now, but I will put it right here. So far I'm liking this. It's a bit overpriced in my opinion, but I will continue to use it and keep you posted on how I like it. And then I'm just going to apply my moisturizer. It's a very cloudy day today and I'm not going out, so I'm going to wait to apply sunscreen till much later. So I hope again this video was helpful. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And I would love to know, do you cosmetic needle or medical microneedle? And if so, which tool do you use and what benefits have you noticed? Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.